Well, you are probably familiar with workers' compensation. It is supposed to protect you if you get hurt at work or develop an illness because of the type of work that you do. Some workers are covered for occupational diseases under Missouri law, like hearing loss for industrial noise or developing asthma after being exposed to substances on the job. You might think firefighters with cancer diagnoses would fall into the occupational disease category, but right now, that is not the case. Firefighters and their families are trying to change that. Here's investigative reporter Angie Racono.
It was really shocking. And then when you get over the shock, then you get angry because you feel like you thought you were covered and you're not.
Donna Cheney's husband, Dave, worked as a firefighter and eventually a captain.
He had 27 years.
Decades ago, Gladstone had public safety officers. You handled all the emergency calls, police and fire. Dave would leave his dirty fire gear in the trunk.
We didn't have the knowledge, and I always say, you do the best that you can with the knowledge that you have at the time.
Dave was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4. A tough diagnosis, a difficult battle. Expensive treatments weren't always covered because he didn't qualify for workers' compensation. He tried.
He was very, very angry and very hurt.
And then the financial drain. The Cheneys dipped into savings, refinanced the house, and eventually Donna sold their home after Dave died.
It's not the money, but it's the idea that Dave's not the only person with cancer in the fire service, and we have to start taking care of the firemen.
More is now known about the connections between fighting fires and cancer. Firefighters have a 9% increase in cancer diagnoses, a 14% increase in cancer-related deaths. It's more than a 2-fold increased risk of testicular cancer and a 1.5-fold increased risk of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Remember, that's what killed Dave.
The presumption would be that the firefighter developed cancer on the job.
Representative Robert Sauls says his new proposed legislation would force cities, which employ firefighters, to treat many medical conditions, including cancer, as occupational diseases.
It's one of those things that I think can really help a lot of the people who quite frankly, risk their lives to save and help others. And I think this is the least we can do.
There were a lot of ups and downs. There was a lot of loneliness.
It's cool to see this picture.
Donna says Dave loved being a firefighter, but was devastated his illness wasn't recognized as an occupational hazard. She went to court and was eventually compensated. She's hoping other families can skip a painful legal process and just get the help they need. Angie Racono, KCTV5 News.